YouTube, Internet, good morning, and welcome to another MMO Anthropology video where we're going to be talking about the various incarnations of Halloween events in different MMO games. This one is Neverwinter from Perfect World Entertainment and Cryptic Studios. As you can see, the statue in the middle of Neverwinter, the Protector's Enclave, is now wearing a glowing jack-o'-lantern instead of a head, and what I think is the market seems to have a glowing devilish mask hung there. Let us see. And all around the city, pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns have appeared in a sort of, I should say, harvest motif that generally comes along with the Halloween celebrations. And I was hoping to see if, because I believe that there are some scarecrows that are made out of hay and etc. That sort is getting to be a problem. Hopefully it will not wreck up my recording. In order to join in the festivities, players need only come here with these even more interesting pumpkins. I think this one is wearing a helmet, looks kind of like an owl. And speak to the Masquerade Master right here, who has a set of quests. The first one is a quest to understand the lore of this event, as it complies with Neverwinter, which of course is a fictional culture inside of Dungeons & Dragons, so let me accept this. The second one is to suggest that you go around and you capture what are called Liar's Tokens. Liar's Charms, excuse me, and you trade them in for Masquerade Tokens. The Halloween event in Neverwinter is otherwise known as the Liar's Masquerade, and the reason that it's the Liar's Masquerade is because people are invited to take on entities or costumes of things that they're not. And these individuals wandering around, the guy with the very small pumpkin over his head that you can see, is an illusionist. And as an illusion would probably be one of the best costumes you could possibly have for a Halloween costume. You go and you talk to them and you turn in these treats that you pull out of pumpkins on the street. Apparently I have too many. I can't get more. Now, what we've seen from other games, specifically we've looked at Guild Wars 2, and in the past we've looked at the way that World of Warcraft handles this, and most of them attempt to incorporate the atmosphere and vestiges that we're used to externally in Western culture with Halloween. For example, the harvest motif, the scarecrows, the jack-o'-lantern, the pumpkin, which by and large is primarily a Western item because, well, pumpkins were native to here, I believe, before they were imported to the British and Celtic regions to be incorporated into the festival. Now, instead of going for horror motifs such as Guild Wars 2 and horror stories like World of Warcraft, Neverwinter is borrowing its external cultural coin entirely from the costuming component of trick-or-treating, wherein people are invited to dress up in fantastic costumes from the mundane to the horrific to the awesome. You know, I'm going to say elves and fairies and other fantasy elements, or even celebrities from movies and etc. Neverwinter is taking the costuming portion and throwing it all around the city, asking people to speak to these illusionists, who, if I could find another one stomping around, change themselves into various different horrors. Man, I'm here talking and I want one of these guys and I can't find one when I want him. In this tact, the Neverwinter is taking a lot from the costuming aspect of trick-or-treating. I think here is one of those fellows. Yep, Masquerade Illusionist. They turn themselves into things such as jellies. The name is escaping me suddenly. Gelatinous cubes. I've seen a gelatinous cube. There are these monstrous berserkers. I've seen a mind flayer. I've seen something that looks like a banshee. In all, it is quite a lot of fun to see all these things, and one of the items that you can trade in for Oh, here's one who sometimes looks like a banshee, but I can see that she's a cat right now. You can turn in items to these masquerade charms over here to the Master of Ceremonies. Once you receive, not the Liar's Charms, the Masquerade Tokens. And with them, you can get particular masks that degrade over time. One of the masks that you just saw was the pumpkin. You can also pick up, I believe, a companion. Let's just talk to her here. Hello. Nice cat outfit. So you could get a jack-o'-lantern mask. You could get yourself an owl mask. You could get some sort of a demon mask. You could get something that looks like a beholder. I don't even know what that would end up looking like. A unicorn, okay. And you could also get yourself a skeletal warrior if you play it all the way to the point where you get 600 of these things. And this would be a companion to run around with you and beat things up. This, however, is pretty much the extent of the entire show. All we've got is the addition of the harvest-themed elements, the pumpkins and the jack-o'-lanterns, and, you know, jack-o'-lanterns on buildings and on statues, which I'm totally in favor of, but that's it. Normally at this point, I would talk about how the player culture of the particular game have incorporated the Halloween event, but there's no interaction with players in this Halloween event, except for maybe showing off what mask you've gotten, and that's not very creative, it's not very identity building, and worse, the masks dissolve. They only last a few days at most, and so it kind of takes away some of the spirit of adding additional aesthetic items and ties it only to and directly to this Halloween event. So all we have is the increase in like a motif that has to do with the harvest, the jack-o'-lanterns, the costuming, which, truth be told, is my favorite component of the cultural coin that Neverwinter is borrowing from the Western Halloween culture, and they unfortunately didn't even change the music. But if you run around town, you will get a chance to see the various illusionists change into interesting things, and if you're lucky, you might even get to see a gelatinous cube. If I can get some sort of, this is perfect to end on. This is a beholder, a giant beholder, aka an eye tyrant, and of course it is an illusionist pretending to be one. These are one of the favorite monsters from Dungeons and Dragons that I have seen. I love these things. I like them more than gelatinous cubes. I bet you're wondering how I move around without any feet, says the floating beholder. But that's all the time I've got for today. This has been Neverwinter and their celebration of Halloween in the Liar's Masquerade, which primarily consists of costuming. So I hope all of you have a safe Halloween night. Meanwhile, good night and good dreams. Well, if you've made it this far, hopefully I've earned your like, and if you're interested in the content that I've been looking on, be sure to hit the subscribe button. This has been Halloween in Neverwinter, and stay tuned, there will be a few more. Meanwhile, I hope that you like, comment if you have things to say about the Halloween events that you've seen in MMOs, and subscribe, or all of your pumpkins will laugh at you.